Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Clutch Talk podcast /YouTube/We Do It All. As always, I'm your host, John. Very happy to be here. My boy Jay is over at the 6. How you doing, my brother?
Doing great, man. You know what time it is. We back almost right in the league. We back almost right at opening night NBA. We're in the middle of preseason, Jay, but I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Jay. I'm doing good. Just like how you said, we almost back into the real full swing of things. We just had this. We just kind of wrapped up the offseason player interviews, and shout out all the players, shout out all the family. That stay tuned and watch all those interviews. If you haven't, got up on that, make sure you guys go check that out. The last one we did, our guy Trevante is definitely going crazy, man. So definitely go show some love for that. But Jay, man, like how you said, I'm just happy to be here, my brother. Me and you, we back into the swing of things. We did the player interviews, and now it's time for this regular season content. Jay, you ready for this?
Always. I've been waiting for this. I think it's going to be a great season at NBA, especially because all the guys, for the most part, are back healthy, and that's all we could ask for as hoop heads, NBA fans, all of that, Jay. So let's get into it, though.
Man, Jay. Let's get into it, man. So that's exactly what this first episode is going to be, man. I know a lot of people out there seeing ESPN. They released their top 100 list. So what we're going to do in this episode is just run through this list. Jay, just give me your first initial thoughts. Like, whoa, I think he should have been higher, should have been lower. He shouldn't even be on that list. We just kind of go run through first initial thoughts. So the family out there, if you guys are on YouTube, make sure you guys, checking this out. You guys will be able to see the players here with us. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we'll run the players off here. But let's go ahead and get started here, Jay. Let me go ahead and share my screen here so everybody can see what the deal is. Here we go, right here. Boom, you see that, my brother?
Yes, sir.
All right, for sure, Jay. So let's go ahead and get into these players. Definitely don't get more exciting until lower in the list. So we'll just go for the beginning, like I'll go 10, 100 through 90, and then 90 through 80, and all stuff like that. So 100th player, and Jay, you let me know. You stop me if you have any disagreements or you want to jump in at any time. But 100 player, we got Bogdanovich. 99th, we got Grant Williams. 98, Mitchell Robinson. 97, Kevin Love. Wow. 96, Seth Curry. 95, Keegan Murray. 94, Brendan Clark. 93, D'Angelo Russell. Wow. 92, Christian Wood. 91, Anthony Simmons. And 90, Buddy Hield. Jay, any disputes in here, Jay?
I'll start at 100. I think Bogdanovich, he's a lot of that to do why we saw, as you can see, he was 67 in the 2021 beginning of the season last year. And a lot of that to do with his health. So I think he's healthy. He's a big part of what Atlanta does. And if they're going to make a run or kind of be back in the mix in the Eastern Conference playoffs this season, he's going to have a big part of it to do with that. So Bogdanovich, a lot of health to do. The rest of this list, only thing that stuck out to me here, if you go down a little bit, is Keegan Murray at 95. I don't know. He's a great player. I expect big things from him in Sacramento. I think he's arguably, if you think of the draft picks in the lottery, he could be the most NBA ready just right off the bat. To me, we saw what he did in Summer League, but I don't really know how I feel about rookies being rated over guys and dudes who have been in the league. Like, I'm not going to put him over Seth Curry already, even though Seth Curry's not a star anyway. This is a guy, he's a rookie who has never proven anything in the league. So I really have an issue with that, having him over 5 guys or 4 guys already.
Man, Jay, I'm right there with you, Jay. That's one thing I even thought about prior to getting to this list. I was like, man, I really hope, there's not like Pablo and some of these rookies that are on list, which don't get me wrong, they're great, but it's like we're comparing these guys to NBA players now. We're not comparing these guys to what they did in college or what they did overseas or did G League or whatever, man. That's the number one thing that I think is a blasphemy. Seth Curry, you're talking about a career 43% shooter from 3, is getting ranked up higher than Keegan Murray, a man who has not played one full NBA game. Yeah, I have a big problem with that, Jay. I'm glad you called that out.
Facts. And Jay, no, I agree. And let's go back to 95 right here, especially for those viewing on YouTube. Whoever Keegan Murray's barber is, that dude's elite. God, look at this, like this line in this taper, Jay. My goodness, man, dog. Like that's an elite barber. Shout out
to my AJ on. I'm in Cali, Jay. You know I'm in Cali. I might have to make that drive up to Sac, because if he's in Sac, I'll just go over there for a haircut like this.
For real.
Man, well, all right, Jay. So that's definitely, you know, my biggest issue with that. I think a little high for D'Lo. Like, yeah, I think D'Lo should be better than 93, but also he hasn't been really proving himself. He's been having some tough time staying consistent, staying out of injury. So I get it, man. But D'Lo should definitely be higher than 93, in my opinion.
And it'd be interesting to see who we got lower in this case than him. Okay, because Anthony Simons over him too. I mean, he had a great end of the season, or you know, part of the season when Dame was gone, and it was really his show to run. But 91, we're putting him over D'Lo already. Okay, man, let's see what he does Let's see what he does in his third year, Jay. I don't know.
That's a lot of hype for him, huh, Jay? It's a lot of hype, I think. All right, Jay. So then let's go to 80. Let's do 89 here. 89 is Mike Conley. 88 is Yusuf Nurkic. 87 Malcolm Brogdon. 86 Kristaps Porzingis. 85 Jordan Clarkson. 84 Jonas Valanciunas. 83 Aaron Gordon. 82 Pablo. 81 Josh Giddey. And 80 Karis LeVert. Jay, some initial problems with this. It's a lot for me.
Initial problems. Karis LeVert, first off, way too high, or way too low, in my opinion, in comparison to the rest of these the rest of these 10. And then I will say also, if you go up the list here, another issue I have, obviously, we talked about the rookie, Pablo Banchero, too high. Rookie, I prefer if ESPN left off these dudes off the list, because you really can't compare. Like we said, you haven't proven yourself. So another issue with that. Porzingis below Aaron Gordon.
Wow.
That's like I said, the health, Jay. The health. That's the only reason I would say that. And I don't even think Aaron Gordon should be higher than Jonas Valanciunas either.
Man, yeah, I think it's a lot wrong with this list. Definitely. First, leading off of Pablo, also Jordan Clarkson. I think we're talking about Kristaps Porzingis and then Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson last season was, may have not been efficient, but a player who was delivering. Kristaps Porzingis just honestly hasn't been for the past couple of years. So I'm right there with you, Jay. I also think putting Malcolm Brogdon at 87, I think he should definitely be a little lower. And when I mean a little lower, like closer to the zeros and 20s and all that, not closer to the hundreds. So yeah, the ESPN definitely fumbled the bag on this 10. Aaron Gordon, he's
my counter to that, Jay. Or didn't mean to cut you off. Excuse me for cutting you off. I would say my counter to that is only the health is why Brogdon and Porzingis is lower, because like you said, talent wise, they shouldn't be this high on the list, but the only reason they're not lower, and I believe ESPN must have taken that into equation, is the health. And you look at a dude like Porzingis, his knock has always been his health. When he's on the floor, he's one of the best, stretch 4, stretch 5 centers in the game. Honestly, I've never really questioned what he can do when he's playing. It's always been, what can he do to stay on the floor, and when he went over to Washington, he was great as pretty much the number one option there after, Bradley Beal went out for the season, because they've actually never played together in a Wizards uniform. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Bradley Beal and Porzingis could do together. But if he stays on the floor, Porzingis is a dog. I really like what he can do. He's so skilled.
Man, and I like Josh Giddey here as well. But I just feel like, just to me personally, I think it's just I don't know. I think it's you not, the ESPN isn't paying as much respect to Jordan Clarkson's and player who has kind of been doing it for some time. But maybe they took some potential into it. Maybe potential is a big part of their list here, but
Harris LeVert too.
Man,
I just really don't like. I really don't like him at 80 above the likes of Porzingis, Valanciunas, Giddey. Yeah, I'm not with that.
Clarkson, I think all those guys. But all right, Jay, let's Clarkson, keep it pushing. Yep. Let's do the next 10. We got Clint Capella at 79, Lonzo Ball at 78, Dylan Brooks at 77. Wow, Ben Simmons at 76, OG Anunoby 75, Harrison Barnes 74, John Collins 73, Michael Porter 72, Julius Randle 71, Al Horford 70. My brother. Let me just go first with this one, bro. Let me just go first real quick, Jay. Why is Ben Simmons even on this list, bro? Like, I get it. He's a good defender. He's a versatile defender, but I'm not taking Ben Simmons before. I'm taking Dylan Brooks before Ben Simmons. I'm taking Lonzo Ball before Ben Simmons. I'm taking Clint Capella. I'm taking Karis LeVert. I'm taking Jordan Clarkson. I'm taking all these players before Ben Simmons. So I get it. I get it. You know, he's this versatile defender. And I know I don't like him. I have a disdain for him, but there's just no way, in my opinion, Ben Simmons without a jumper and all he can do is play some defense and drive to the hoop is a 76th best player in the NBA. Jay, am I wrong? Do I have too much hatred in my heart?
Too much hatred in your heart. Ben Simmons, Jay, this is an all defensive player. This is a dude who's, I mean, when he's playing, he's unbelievable. He can lock up 1 through 5. He can play the point. He can distribute. I think when he's at his best, he's playing the 5. But I think when he's healthy, and we've seen throughout this list, it's guys who haven't been healthy. When Ben Simmons is healthy, he's an elite defender. He can run the floor. He can guard your best player. He can rebound. He has a great vertical. He has a good engine. He has an extremely high basketball IQ. And I would put him ahead of a lot of these guys who are on this list. If you go down here that are lower than him, Dylan Brooks for sure, I'm taking him over. I don't know about OG Anunoby. I might have him over him, but Lonzo Ball is a guy who hasn't been healthy unfortunately for his whole career. And when he's healthy, when the two are healthy, when Ben Simmons is actually playing basketball, like we saw him do last night in the preseason game, he's a great, elite, versatile player, man. So Jay, let's put a little respect on his name. I understand your frustration of why he wasn't out, but when he's playing basketball, the dude can hoop and he can play the game.
Man, Jay, I
might say it's a little high for him too.
It's a little high.
Even after missing a whole year. I might say that too.
Yeah, I think it's a little high, man. Like, I think I would take some of these players like in the 90s. Like, I personally, just off rip, as point guard to point guard, which I don't even think Ben Simmons should be considered a point guard, but I guess since he is that, I'm taking D'Angelo Russell over Ben Simmons. And I
meant high in the sense that high as in he should be lower, closer to 0.
Oh, what, Jay?
Yeah,
that's what I think. Jay? Oh,
absolutely.
What? That's crazy, Jay. All right, Jay. That one right there. I'm gonna need the family in the comment section down below. Let us know. Like,
let us know.
Let us know. Like, does John got too much hate in his heart, or does Jay know what he's talking about? Because I just don't, man. I think 76 is too low for him, man. But all right, let's keep it pushing with this whole Ben Simmons situation. OG Anunoby, I'm definitely taking him over there. Everyone else I like on this list. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe they took a little bit too much of potential by putting Michael Porter Jr. over John Collins. I feel like John Collins has been a durable player that's been there. Michael Porter really hasn't been able to be there as much. Do you have any other problems with these lists, Jay?
Jay, come on. If we're gonna say that Ben Simmons is too low on this list, then we damn for sure got to be saying Michael Porter, a dude who's never he's never had a healthy season. Number one, he's never played a whole season, and damn for sure doesn't have the accolades or anything that Ben Simmons has produced when Ben Simmons has been on the floor. So if you're gonna make a big deal about Ben Simmons being that low on the list, we have to say something about Michael MPJ, because that's strictly them having him at 72 on these rankings is just purely based off potential because he hasn't proven nearly what Ben Simmons has proven in the league.
But
and
Jay,
that's a fact. And that's a fact.
That's a fact. I'll give that to you. You're right. He has not proven what Ben Simmons has proven. But when you take potential into this, does Michael Porter Jr. not have tremendous more potential than Ben Simmons? And like, what is the cap of Ben Simmons? Being a good defender, being a distributor who's not really gonna be your point guard. I mean, I guess he's gonna be like a weaker version of Jokic, right? He's just gonna throw these passes out of the post. But like Michael Porter Jr.'s got the capability, the potential of being really an all-around player, man. Jay, really, Jay.
Ben Simmons Ben Simmons and Michael Porter Jr. I would say Michael Porter Jr. at his best will be the third option with Denver this year. He's going to be the third option. The same for Ben Simmons. They're on the same playing field. Ben Simmons, I see him probably being used as a 5 when he's at his best. Off ball, Kyrie at the 1, Kevin Durant playing a bit of the 1. He might intermix there and play, off everything. Nick Claxton, a big lineup. But, we can't sit here and Jay say that Ben Simmons is high. Is too low when Michael Porter Jr. is 6 spots ahead of him at 72, ahead of all the other dudes that he was ahead of on this list. I can't let you, man. I can't let you, Jay.
Oh, man. All right, so that's another disagreement we have here. So that's another one for the family. Let us know. Is Michael Porter too low? I think he's just right. Jay thinks he's way too low, man. So let us know in the comment section down below. Is MPJ too low? I know he hasn't been healthy, man, but we man, that's crazy. But all right, let's keep it pushing, Jay. Julius Randle, he's at 71. I like that. Al Horford at 70. I like that. He's been, like how you said, he's a winner, man. He's a winner. He may not be individually, the 70th best player in the league, but he's a winner, man. But let's get it. Let's get the next 10 here, Jay. At 69, we got Spencer Dinwiddie, Desmond Bane, Jalen Brunson. 66, we have Miles Turner. At 65, we have Russell Westbrook. 64, Jeremy Grant. 63, RJ Barrett. 62, Jalen Green. 61, Tyler Hero. And 60, Kyle Lowry. I only have one problem with this, Jay. I only got one problem with this. You want to know my problem?
I would say Jalen Green off top. There's one glaring issue, and we might be in agreement on this, Jay. And it's not Jalen Green. I think Jalen Green's a little high. I will say that. But Mr. Westbrook, excuse me, and I'm not gonna say it like that. I'm gonna put some respect on his name. Russell Westbrook should not be 65 on this list after that abysmal season, absolutely disgusting season he put out last year, Jay. I just can't have him at 65 on those lists. If we're gonna bash Ben Simmons, I'm gonna go back to it, Jay. I'm gonna go keep harping on it. If we're gonna go back on that, I will say that Russ can't be that high on this list.
But I'm taking Russell Westbrook 7 days out of the week over Ben Simmons every single day. Yes,
not the way he played, not the way that he played last year. I would not definitely. I'm taking Ben Simmons over him all any day of the week.
Okay, but if you take prime Westbrook and prime Ben Simmons,
I'll take prime Westbrook, but that's not anything to do with these rankings. We're 2022. That's that's my counter to that. It's 2022 NBA preseason rankings. So it's not about.
So we have to take him.
Russ is a MVP. He has an MVP under his belt. He's been to. Two NBA he's been to one NBA finals. Ben Simmons can't say the same, but the same time we're talking about this year. If we're taking the peak of the two careers, yes, I'm taking Russ.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, I got you. No, I definitely understand that, but I mean, saying if we're talking about last season, or we're talking about what you did as of late. Russell Westbrook did way more of Ben Simmons as of late. All Ben Simmons did as of late is cry and complain and just really be a backstabbing teammate, to be honest.
What did Westbrook do? He led his team to the not even to the playing tournament.
Okay. Well, Russell Westbrook
with Anthony Davis and LeBron James.
Anthony Davis, who played like 30 some games, didn't even. Anthony Davis, who was injury ridden. The coach was terrible. The coach was not a coach. We're talking about that team was built to be an offensive team with a defensive minded like coach. Russell Westbrook was not put in a position to win last season. I mean, if we're talking,
Jay, you know what I'm hearing? What I'm hearing from you by saying about all last season? I'm hearing excuses for Russell Westbrook. Yes, Ben Simmons didn't play, but you're talking about what Westbrook did. He didn't do anything to help his team win, and that's where I have an issue with him being 65. I think he should be lower for what he did, because what he didn't do was contribute to winning. And what did I say? I have an emphasis on players who help their team win. It doesn't matter.
Then how is Ben Simmons anywhere on your list then? Because he not only did he hurt his team, he also did not contribute to winning in no way, facet or form. Like he did zero. He just took.
But the same way that if he's going to be on this list at all, the same way that rookies are on this list, and you had no problem with Pablo Banchero being on this list,
I have a
guys who have contributed nothing to this league. The same way that they're on this list, if they're going to be on this list at all, I don't think that Ben Simmons, maybe he has a case not to be on this list, but if he's going to be on this list, I'm fine with having him ahead of Russell Westbrook, who didn't help his team, didn't contribute to his team making the playoffs, with LeBron James, who you consider to be the greatest player of all time, and Anthony Davis, who, when he's healthy and playing at his best, should be one of the top 5 players or top 10 players in the NBA. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong about LeBron, or you're not wrong about AD, but I know that injury, that season was injury riddled for that whole Lakers team. But we're not even talking about the Lakers. I'm keeping the Lakers out of this. I'm talking about Russell Westbrook and Ben Simmons. If we're just talking about those two, Jay, there's no way Ben Simmons should be anywhere on this list above. He shouldn't be anywhere on this period, but should he be above Russell Westbrook? No way. But he also shouldn't be above any other person who touched the floor last season, in my opinion. But man, all right, family.
You're gonna have to disagree to disagree.
Family at home, yeah, exactly, Jay. Family at home. Let us know. Like, yes, we know Russ Westbrook played more than Ben Simmons last year, but should Ben Simmons be higher than Russ Westbrook on this list? Should it be other way around? Man, I like that, Jay. For the family out there, definitely let us know, man. But Jay, that's not where I was going. When I said that I had one problem with this, that's not where I was going. I don't see that big. I know Russ Westbrook didn't have a great season last season, but I don't see that big of an issue, him being at 65. But what I do see an issue with that the Knicks just literally handed Jalen Brunson the keys to New York, and he's the 67th best player, right? Like you would want to hand the keys to maybe like a top 15 player, a top 20 player, but he's not even in the top 50. Which I think it's not even wrong of ESPN to put him here, but I just think it just shows the buffoonery and the silliness of New York, because that's just they gave him the keys and he's the 67th best player. It's just embarrassing for New York.
Yeah. I mean, the rest of this list I really don't have an issue with. Jeremy Grant, good addition. Jalen Green might be a little too high, and then Tyler Hero. Yeah, no real issue with this.
No real issue. Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, Jason, let's go ahead and get the next 10. At 59, we got Tyrese Halliburton. At 58, Robert Williams III. At 57, Nikola Vucevic. At 56, Tobias Harris. 55, Jordan Poole. 54, De'Aaron Fox. 53, Jaren Jackson Jr. 52, Jared Allen. Wow. 51, DeAndre Ayton. 50, Jamal Murray. Jay, are there any that jump out at you?
Jamal Murray hasn't played a full season of basketball. That could be an issue. He's proven enough, though, that I'm fine having him here, similar to Ben Simmons. He's proven enough where he's not playing a full season, but he's done enough when he is healthy to know that he's at least better than 50 players in the NBA. So I can respect that. And especially the rest of this list. Jared Allen had a great season. You could argue he might be ahead of DeAndre Ayton on this list, but the Phoenix Suns were a better basketball team. I value winning, so I'm fine with that. Jaren Jackson had a great season. De'Aaron Fox, he's improving. He had a great end to the season last year for the Sacramento Kings. And let's be real. And I mean to say this right now. Don't sleep on the Kings, because I think they're going to be a play-in team this year. I think they're a very interesting team, and we'll get into that more as the season comes closer. But obviously, Jordan Poole made huge strides. He's definitely, in my mind, better than 45 players in this league, so I have no issue with that. Tobias Harris, yeah, and the rest of these guys. Vucevic did drop down. I think he struggled this year. And Robert Williams, I'd like to see him up there. He was a huge part of what the Celtics did and why they're so great defensively last year.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Jay. No, I don't really have any big issues with this list. I am a bit surprised, I guess, to see De'Aaron Fox at 54 because of the player we know De'Aaron Fox can be. But has he done it? No, he hasn't done it. He hasn't been consistent with it, and overall definitely has not won. So I guess my first initial thought was like, wow, De'Aaron Fox is so high up, but not really. Yeah. When you kind of think about it and take it all into account. Ayton is definitely probably got this for being just rewarded from winning. I think it's just the winning in his life that's been happening as of late since Chris Paul's got there. I think that's what got him here. And Jamal Murray, I love what you said, Jay. Yeah, it's what he's did in the past that landed him here. No real problems. So I can go ahead and keep that pushing. For 49, we got Mikhail Bridges. 48, SGA. 47, Sabonis. 46, wow, Darius Garland. 45, CJ McCollum. 44, Tyrese Maxey. 43, Draymond Green. 42, DeJounte Murray. 41, LaMelo Ball. And 40, Zion Williamson. I have a big issue with this, Jay.
I have a huge issue. Number one, I think it's disrespectful to have a four-time champion below DeJounte Murray, LaMelo Ball. I mean, here's what I'll say about this. Draymond Green last season, he missed a lot of games, so I can see that. He wasn't available. He wasn't healthy. But when he was healthy, he was going to be the defensive player of the year. I don't think there was any doubt about that. Marcus Smart ended up getting it, but in my opinion, he was on pace to be the defensive player of the year. So having him at 43 coming off an NBA championship, I think is absurd, in my opinion. Number two, I think that, Jay, I think that Tyrese Maxey is a little low on this list, meaning he's a little highly rated. If you go up on this list here, Jay, he shouldn't be ahead of CJ McCollum. He shouldn't be, in my opinion, ahead of Darius Garland, who's coming off a career year. Even Sabonis, I don't even see him ahead of Shea. He's had his battles with injuries and everything. A lot of that might be to do just with Oklahoma City. They've been shutting him down early too. If it was up to him, Shea's trying to play in those games. So a little high for Tyrese Maxey, a little low but high, right?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah, I'm that's actually what I had a big issue with. Like, as we go through this list, like the standard now for me is going to be, are they better than Darius Garland and CJ McCollum? Because this is just extremely robbery and disrespect to Darius Garland and CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum is the reason the Pelicans made the playoffs last year. Like, once he came to the Pelicans, they had the little push, and CJ McCollum was a huge reason of that. Darius Garland, like how you said, just had a breakout year. We know what he can do.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it was mad disrespect for them to put those CJ and Darius Garland at 45 and 46. Also, I'm right there with you, Jay. As much as Draymond may be an annoying player to watch, there's no way an NBA champion that just came off an NBA championship should be. I believe he was number 43. Yeah, 43. There's just no way that should be So they're trying to tell me that Tyrese Maxey, a player who really hasn't proven himself, who I guess have had spurts of playing good, is only one player behind a four-time NBA champion, you know what I'm saying, a defensive player of the year. I have a big issue with that. DeJounte Murray, let me see what he's going to do on the Hawks, man. I don't think he's proven enough to go from 83 to 42. I don't think he's proven enough. He was 83 last year to 42. That's like about, I think it's like 20 some numbers. He jumped 20 some players, and he didn't do anything in this last season to prove that he got better than 20 some players. So that's definitely my issue with these. You want to keep it pushing, Jay?
Keep it pushing.
All right, keep it pushing. 39, your boy, Scotty Barnes. 38, Fred VanVleet. 37, wow. 37, Klay Thompson. 36, Evan Mobley. 35, Cade Cunningham. 34, Marcus Smart. Come on. 33, Kyrie Irving. 32, Andrew Wiggins. 31, Chris Middleton. 30, Pascal Siakam. Wow.
Man.
That's
I'll just go back, and we kind of brushed over this, but at number 40 we have Zion Williamson, a cat who didn't play a game last year, Jay. So if you're gonna hold Ben Simmons to that same standard, and we have like I'll say that too, that if a guy's gonna sit out for a whole season, they should be a little further back. So having Zion, even adding to, the Darius Garland, CJ McCollum, Draymond Green for damn sure being a four-time, coming off his fourth NBA championship, defensive player of the year caliber season, minus the injuries, but he did play in a game. Zion didn't play in any basketball games last year. So to have him that high, even over his teammate, I think is absurd, Jay. But let's get into the rest of this list. I like Scotty Barnes where he is. Fred VanVleet, I think he's good there too. Klay, I'm fine with this. He missed half of the season. But he is one of the better shooters in the league. But
he missed half the season. But I mean, Jay, if we're gonna give that argument to Jamal Murray that like what he's did in the past has secured his spot, I think Klay has secured his spot better than 37, in my opinion. For sure.
The same thing. And same thing, like his track record, right, has proven it. You're exactly right.
Okay, and then Evan Mobley.
Cade Cunningham should be ahead of Evan Mobley. I know you like it. He should be ahead of him, right? I mean, Evan Mobley, I like where he's at, but I'm just saying he should be ahead of these guys. I would even argue that Darius Garland should be ahead of these guys. Ahead of him.
I agree. Darius Garland should.
And Cade Cunningham too. Come on, man.
Man, ESPN is tripping, bro.
Nah.
Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart too. Yeah, Marcus Smart too. I mean, he's the defensive player of the year, but
that's why.
He deserves that. He deserves that.
That's a problem. Kyrie Irving, that's a problem. No. I get he's a good player, but if we're talking about last season, come on, man. Like, oh man, you think he's too low on this list? I think he's too low. I mean, if this list is compared to last season, if this list is compared to what have you done as of late, what did he do? He just didn't even play last season. He cried about a vaccine. You know what I'm saying?
But when he was playing, he was Kyrie, a top 5 point guard. Yeah, so I will give him. We'll give him a pass. This is a cat who's won an NBA championship when he's at the peak of his powers. Arguably, no one does it better than this dude at the point guard position. Like creatively, obviously, I have Steph ahead of him, but there's not many other players who do it better than him. So we'll give him. Might let it slide with him at 33.
We'll let it slide.
I like Wiggins at 32. I like Wiggins at 32.
I like Middleton at 31. I
like Middleton at 31. I think that's like apples and oranges, what they do for their team, right? The third, fourth option, guard the other team's perimeter, the best perimeter players.
Honestly, for me, you could have even swapped these. Like you could have even put Middleton at 31 and Pascal at Middleton at 30 and Pascal at 31. I don't even think it would have made that big of a difference. to me, you could have swapped those. So you agree with that, Jay, or you think Pascal's clearly better?
I think Pascal, man, he's solid.
He's solid.
And I wouldn't make if those two were swapped, like you said, I wouldn't wouldn't make a difference for me.
All right, so then 30 we got Pascal, Siakam at 29, Brandon Ingram. Wow, 28 DeMar DeRozan. I want to see 27 better players than him. 27 Zach LaVine.
Whoa.
26 Jrue Holiday. Oh, okay, Jay. For from 26 to 30, is there any? I think Jrue Holiday should not be lower than DeMar. I think DeMar out of Jrue, DeMar and Zach, DeMar is the best player.
I think he's the best player, but I value winning. That's what I say. I value winning. I'm gonna keep it the same theme. I value winning, so we'll give him the edge over him. NBA championship. Zach and DeMar can't say the same, but I will say if we're arguing between DeMar and Zach LaVine, DeMar was clearly the number one on that team last year. Zach LaVine, to his credit, took the back seat and they were successful because of it. But I'm giving DeMar the spot ahead of LaVine in this one.
Every day, Jay. Every day.
Right? I mean,
every day I'm right there with you, brother. All right.
But no other qualms with this one.
All right. 25, Anthony Edwards. 24, Donovan Mitchell. I really want to see 23 better players than this guy. 23, Bam Adebayo. Okay. 22, Jaylen Brown. 21, Chris Paul. And 20, Anthony Davis. All right. I have some qualms. Is that what you just said, Jay? Is that what you said?
Right. Some qualms.
I have some qualms with this, Jay. I have some qualms with this. I mean, look, I get it. Anthony Davis hasn't performed, so put him there. But I think this is all like his fault. Like he's the reason he's at 20. Like if he wanted to get it together, I think he could be a top 3, top 4, top 5. I think easily. So that's my first qualms with that. All right, now is where we're going to get into some of these issues. Is Bam? As a matter of fact, I'm never in my life going to take Bam Adebayo over Donovan Mitchell. I'm never in my life going to take Bam Adebayo over Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Jay, am I tripping or is ESPN tripping? Because I don't think Bam should be 23.
I wouldn't say Bam Adebayo's this. He's 23. But we go into the winning. His team's been to the finals before. His team was in the Eastern Conference Finals, came up one game short of being in the NBA Finals. He struggled. He wasn't at his peak of his powers. They need him to be more aggressive offensively. I think this is a mix of potential, winning, and he did perform in the regular season, but he didn't do it as well and what they needed from him in the playoffs, and they were still one game short of being in NBA Finals. So that adds to the mix and why I can maybe see why he's 23. But at the peak of their powers, Jay, I'm saying that those players are ahead of him. So I get what you're saying with that.
Yeah,
but other than that, I have no issue with this list. Anthony Davis, to your mention, he did it to himself. He did it to himself, but we know what he can be. And he'll move up if he's
just brings it.
He should move up. Yeah, if he should be a top 5 player at the number 1 option for the Lakers. If he's the number 1 up for the option for the Lakers, then they're going to be a successful team this year. But if he's not, then the Lakers are in trouble.
Man, much of last season, hopefully not.
So they've been saying that for the past 3 years, right? Man, Anthony Davis is going to be the number one option. He said it. We seen what he said in the press conferences. We seen as we've been talking. Let's see if he puts that talk to action, though.
Man, that's what I want to see. Yeah, enough of that talking, AD. I need to see you playing. Right. But all right, Jay. Something at night.
It looked good last night, though.
It did look good. I'm not gonna lie. It looked good last night.
Jay, I know you was happy, man.
I'm not gonna lie. I was tuned in. I was happy to see him out there finally playing. But all right, Jay.
I love basketball.
I'm just happy to have basketball around again, Jay. That's all, Jay. But all right, so then let's go to 19. We have Bradley Beal. Okay.
We're cool with CP there. I think I'm cool with CP there.
I think I'm cool with CP there. I mean, he's
That,
older, but
yeah.
look, this is the only caveat I'll give to this. Remember how like in the playoffs he just all of a sudden disappeared, and like I think it was more of age. If he plays like that, I'm not cool with it. But if he's just like half of what CP has been through his career, I'm cool with an old CP being at 21. I'm cool with that.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So 19, Bradley Beal, 18, Rudy Gobert. 17, Jimmy Butler, 16, Trae Young, wow, 15, Paul George, 14, Damian Lillard, 13, Karl Anthony Towns. I'm just going to get to 10 here. 12, Kawhi Leonard, wow. 11, James Harden. Okay, and then I'll start the next article. Jay, from 11 to 19, any qualms?
Really have no issues. Because this is when you get into this top 20 range, starting with Anthony Davis, these are all guys who have been there, done that. Paul George has had his faults, but we know when he's at his best, we know when he's cooking, when he's PG-13, he's the best of the best, right? At his position, at the three, his guarding defensively, his scoring, his shot creation. There's really no one better out there in terms of two-way defender and scorer than his teammate Kawhi Leonard. So I have no real issue with that because what he's proven. If we're gonna say the same criteria for a guy like DeMar DeRozan and guys like that, although Paul George did miss a significant chunk most of the season last year, right? So. But we saw what he did when he came back and how lethal he really is. And then Jimmy Buckets, he was 16 last year. I think he's right on that tier 2, tier 3 of elite players, right? But when the lights are brightest, Jimmy's coming out to play. But I still wouldn't have him over a guy, Paul George, when they're at the peak of their powers, right? When they're both healthy, I'm not taking him over Paul.
Yeah.
So I have really no issue, Jay, with the rest of this list, though.
Man, Jay, I don't have too much of an issue. I think Bradley Beal is a little too high. Personally, yeah. I'd take Bradley Beal over Jimmy Butler. I'd take Bradley Beal over. I don't know if I want to say Dame. I don't know if I'm ready to say Dame, to be honest, because we know what Dame do when Dame's there. We know what Dame do.
Jay, my question to you for that is, so you value scoring and statistics clearly over winning, though? Or is that what I mean? If you have Bradley Beal over Jimmy Butler, because like I said, my criteria, okay, I don't have to say it, of winning, of being in the Eastern Conference Finals, of leading your team to the finals. Bradley Beal hasn't done that. His team hasn't been to the playoffs in 3 years? And he's been the number one option for that time. So that's my issue when I say that.
I'm not gonna lie, Jay. You're right about that. You made me walk that one back because I in my head initially was thinking like, man, what? I'm taking Bradley Beal over Jimmy every single time as a just as a player, but when you take into account winning, when you take into account the last, let's say, even 3 years, Jimmy Butler maybe hasn't been the outright best player on his team, but he's been a very important piece that's took him to deep playoff runs. And Bradley Beal has been hands down the most important piece and the leader of that team, and they have gone nowhere. So I'm not gonna lie, Jay. I definitely take that, retract my statement. I got Jimmy Butler over Bradley Beal, but what I do have an issue with is Rudy Gobert. I mean, you know how I feel about him personally. This is just like, how great are you? How great of a player can you be if you really can't play in the playoffs? And we know that of Rudy Gobert. And I just kind of think that Donovan Mitchell was the 24th best player, and then Rudy Gobert is the 18th. And I think if anything of that Utah Jazz team, Rudy Gobert was the issue. So I have a problem with him being at 18. Jay, do you have a problem with that? Or how do you feel about him, Rudy Gobert landing an 18th spot?
I think it's right where he needs to be. Rudy Gobert in his role is an elite player, a shot blocker, a rim runner. I would like to see him obviously improve his back to the basket game. Dude can't even do a drop step dribble, post up. And that's why teams were able to exploit him and force him into being in uncomfortable positions offensively. But I think he gets a lot of flack for the wrong reasons. I mean, he's an underrated perimeter defender. Honestly, he can stay with guys for his size and his athleticism. He's pretty elite. I mean, he gets a lot of shade for not being able to play in playoff games, but for the most part, he holds his own. A lot of what he got exposed for was because the other Utah defenders around him were putting him in bad positions because they themselves couldn't defend. And one of those guys being Donovan Mitchell, who's not a great defender. So that's why I don't really have a problem with Rudy being 18, because he's not a top 10 player, in my opinion, but he's right for all of his accomplishments defensively, being a multiple time defensive player of the year and all of that. Top 20 for me and top 18 in this case by ESPN. I can't really have an issue with it.
Okay. All right. Family at home, let us know. Is Rudy Gobert 18 a good pick, or are you guys wanting to see him a little lower, a little higher? But all right, Jay. So now you ready to get into this top 10 category, Jay? Top 10.
Yes, sir.
Man, let's do it. And man, number 10, they got Devin Booker. Number 9, they got Ja Morant. Number 8, Kevin Durant. Wow. Number 7, Jason Tatum. And number 6, LeBron James. Oh, man, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous, Jay. Jay, let me go ahead and go first with this one. I got some qualms with this one. And then number 5, Jay, we got Steph Curry. Number 4, Joel Embiid. Number 3, Luka Doncic. Number 2, Jokic. I wonder who one is. It's that Greek freak. Oh, man. Top 10, Jay. All right. Honestly, Jay, let me go ahead and go first real quick, because I got one big qualms with this, Jay. I learned that new word. Thank you for that, my brother. I'm going to start using that all the time now. But, man, I mean, I get it that he's older. But number 6, I think putting LeBron at number 6 is an absolute blasphemy. I seen Kendrick Perkins' list. Kendrick Perkins was also reacting to this list, and he was tripping. And he was talking about how there's no way LeBron should be out of the top 5. And I'm right there with him. And this is not to take away any credit from any of these players within the top 5, but I just think that in his late 30s, LeBron last season could have won the scoring title, just simply didn't play enough games to qualify. I definitely had an injury-ridden season, but I think that I don't think anyone's ever seen what LeBron did last season at that age. So I think just that alone, and also just what he's done and just being LeBron, should earn him a spot into that top 5. But hey, times are changing. It's 2022. It's not 2010, not 2011 anymore. LeBron's gotten a little older. So that's my first qualms with this. The second one is Kevin Durant being at number 8. I think is a big problem. I think it's a big issue. Jay, talk to me about your first initial issues that you have with this top 10.
First, I have to concur with that, with LeBron being at number 6. I mean, I could see why the reason of health being a factor of why he's not in the top 5. He's definitely a top 5 player when he's at his best. The dude can do everything on his floor. And I'm not the biggest LeBron, supporter, right, as a whole. But, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. The dude can just flat out play the game at every level and can do everything on the floor. So it's hard for me to see a guy like Luka. And the biggest issue I have with this, Jay, is a 4-time champion, 2-time finals, 2-time or 1-time MVP, 1-time finals MVP. Steph is not ahead of Luka, is not ahead of Jokic, is not ahead of even Giannis. Giannis was asked why he wasn't or who he thought was the best player in the NBA, and he said it was Steph. And the reason, I value winning, Jay. And I think the fact that your team won the NBA championship, you were the best player on that team, and you went on a historic NBA finals run, that should put you as the number one player to start the next season in the rankings. I don't care about all these other accolades, all these other statistics, Jokic, double-double, two-time MVP. What have you done for me lately? What has your team done? And in my opinion, he should be the number one player in these rankings, or number two. I could see an argument for Giannis, but to not have him as a top two player in the NBA, I think is just laughable by ESPN. And then I will say, not having Kevin Durant. Yes, his team did get swept in the first round by Jason Tatum, so I could see potentially why. But the dude's the best scorer at every level in the NBA. And if you're not going to have him top 5 in the rankings, that's a joke, ESPN. Get your shit together.
That's a joke. That's a joke, man. Jay, and to add another point of that Curry point, I really like that. I do think he should have been higher. But what I kind of look to is that last year he was the 5th ranked player. So basically what ESPN is telling us is that you're the 5th ranked player last year. You win the championship. You're the Finals MVP, and then you're still the 5th ranked player. So there's an issue with that.
That's crazy. That's crazy, Jay. Come on.
So, I mean, because there's literally nothing more you can do besides win a championship and win the Finals MVP. I mean, I guess you could also win the regular season MVP, but I mean, I think a championship and a Finals MVP should earn you a spot at least to the.
I didn't even catch that, Jay. I didn't even catch that. You brought up a great point. He was number 5 last year. He did pretty much everything outside of what, like you said, of winning the regular season MVP, and he's still at the same spot. And a guy, Luka, who brought his team to the Western Conference Finals, but who did he lose to? Who did he lose to?
Oh man, Jay.
Man,
ESPN is hating. I'm not gonna lie. For that alone, ESPN is hating. For the LeBron, I mean, he's the greatest. It's the greatest player of all time. He's not in the top 5. I mean, maybe
in your opinion.
Yeah. Okay. In my opinion, he's the greatest player of all time. But like, Father Time, I get it. It's undefeated. But I think LeBron should have still made top 5. But definitely the number one blasphemy.
I would have him ahead of Luka. I would have him ahead of Joe. I would have him ahead of Embiid. This is my top 4 right here, and you make whatever order you have. It's not Luka, Giannis, Steph, LeBron, and missing one is one of these 5s. And I'll say either Jokic or
KD.
Oh, sorry, I said KD. KD, that's
KD,
the top 5 in the league right now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Jay. I'm right there with you.
And I also, and Jay, I will also say this: I put a premium on guard play. I think there's nothing more valuable in the NBA. Like bigs are great. Bigs do what they do. You look at Jokic, you look at Embiid, they're great. But let's be honest, like a guard controls a game. He controls the pace of a game. He controls the operations of the team. Giannis, he's a point forward. He's a point guard. LeBron's a point guard. KD is pretty much a point guard. He's controlling the game. He's controlling the offense. Steph's a point guard. Well, he might play off ball at times. He's the focal point of the offense for the Warriors. And obviously LeBron is, arguably the best point guard of all time, right? Who point forward, however you want to look at it, of all time, right? And every day of the week, I'm taking those over a guy like Joel Jokic. For as great as he's been, as great as a point, controlling the offense for Denver, I just put a premium on, true point guards in the league and controlling the offense. So I'm taking them ahead of, and not to mention the track record, if we're going to look at it from a history point, for LeBron, like what he's done. Obviously, his team struggled with injuries. We saw that. If we look at it from a what have you done for me lately standpoint, Steph won the championship, won the Finals MVP. So that automatically, like you said, should put him, should make him number one.
Yeah.
And Giannis, the season before, has won, he's won MVPs. He's won the finals MVPs. His team's won a championship. So, man, they got it wrong. They got it wrong. They got it horribly wrong.
They got it wrong, man.
They got it horribly wrong.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Jay. Yeah, they definitely got this one wrong, my brother. I'm just kind of stuck on what I said, Jay, about like how you gonna be a 5th ranked player last year and then win the NBA championship and still be a 5th ranked player. ESPN, we need some changes. We need some answers now, man. We need some answers.
You know what is clear? You know what is clear with what they've done with this, Jay? And they want to stir up conversation with those. That's the only logical thing I can think of. They want us to talk about these rankings not because they're right, because they're wrong. And that's unfortunate because clearly you shouldn't have a dude who's won the finals MVP, a guy in LeBron who's done what he's done, and have Luka Doncic, who led his team to a miraculous Western Conference Finals run. We have to give him credit, but he shouldn't be ahead of those guys, right? Jokic, Embiid, you know. And I think, Jay, ultimately, you know, I know you're a big Embiid guy, but Harden being there, and even Ben Simmons before, right? Of not scoring, going up on that layup against Trae Young, and then James Harden coming in last year and kind of being the scapegoat. I feel like some of the time Joel Embiid kind of gets the easy road out. Like it's never his fault. It's always his teammates' fault. It's always James Harden's fault. It's always Ben Simmons' fault. But Joel Embiid, at a certain point, my guy, you got to look in the mirror and say, hey, you want to be you want to be the process. You want to be the answer. You want to be the number one guy. So at a certain point, Jay, we got to ask that question. Is Joel Embiid really the guy? Man,
Jay. I mean, hey, you know how much of a Joel Embiid guy I am, and I'm right there with you, Jay. At some point, you got to look at the man in the mirror and say, am I the problem? So, I mean, we're going to see this year. We're going to see this year is because if he doesn't make it happen this year, I think that's got to be the new conversation around the league. Is Joel Embiid enough? Is he the guy? Do you need Joel Embiid, James Harden, and someone else, or that's it, man? Because I think this is his last year of just getting pity. I mean, I feel like people have just gave him pity, but I think no more after this year, Jay.
Thanks.
Man, well, all right, Jay. All right, Jay, man. Well, all right. Well, so I think that, that's a good place for us to go ahead and wrap it up. That was us reacting to ESPN's top 100 list. Definitely got some players wrong in there. For the family out there, let us know in the comment section down below, which was the most like blasphemy, right? Was it Curry being a top 5 player after winning the championship? Was LeBron being out of the top 5? Was it Russell Westbrook being 65? Was it Ben Simmons? Like, let us know in the comment section down below. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, man, make sure to get at us and just get ready for the season, man. Get ready for the season. Like we said at the top of the pod, we got great season content coming, and we just appreciate everybody that's stay tuned and throughout the whole player interviews, man. But Jay, you got any last words to say before we wrap up this beginning of the season episode, Jay?
Season's here. Let's go. Stay tuned. Rock with us and stay up to date with us, man. We're going to have league coverage all season.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Jay said it best, man. So as always, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, make sure you leave a nice rating and comment down below. But besides that, man, we love y'all, and that's it. We're out of here, y'all. Clutch Talk out.
Peace.